Hello, students. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? Not just any snake, but a full grown cobra. The Snake and the Mirror is a story written by Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. The narrator, a homeopathic doctor, shares his frightening encounter with a snake while he was relaxing in his room. Let's explore the summary of his story in this video. On a hot summer night around 10 o'clock, the homeopathic doctor returned home after dining at a restaurant. He entered his room and heard the familiar sound of rats on the roof, which he chose to ignore. His rented room was in a terrible state. There was regular traffic of rats to and from the wooden bar supporting the roof of his room. He lit the kerosene lantern on his table using matches due to the lack of electricity. Since the doctor's income was comparatively low, he could not afford to stay in a plush house with clean surroundings. He had just around 60 rupees in his suitcase, along with a few shirts and dhotis and one solitary black coat, which he would often wear. Soon, he took off his coat, shirt, and vest and hung them on a hanger. He opened the windows of his room, made his bed, and pulled it closer towards the wall. He tried to sleep but couldn't due to the humid weather. He rose from his bed and went to get some fresh air on the veranda, yet the weather was dry outside. He returned to his room, sat down on a chair, and opened a box beneath the table and took out a medical book named Materia Medica to read. While he opened it to read it, he noticed a large mirror beside the lamp and a small comb kept near the mirror. Again, he heard the noise of rats coming from above the roof, yet he ignored it. Everyone enjoys admiring their reflection in the mirror, and the doctor was no different. So, as he began gazing at the mirror, he couldn't help admiring himself and wanted to look more presentable. As he combed his hair neatly, he realized he should improve his appearance and always smile. His thoughts shifted from self admiration to wanting to marry a successful, bulky woman doctor. He wanted to marry a fat woman so that whenever he committed a blunder, she would be unable to run after him and catch him. The doctor was so lost in his thoughts that he didn't notice the complete silence in his room or the absence of the usual noise from the rats. There was a sudden sound like a rubber tube falling on the ground. He didn't react to the sound at all. Just as he turned around, he saw a snake wriggling on the back of his chair and landing on his shoulder. In no time, the snake coiled on the doctor's left arm above the elbow. The snake was roughly a few inches away from his face. Consequently, the doctor was completely numb and remained still like a statue. At that moment, the doctor could feel that God might have punished him for his arrogance. He realized that he was a simple human being and he should not have bragged about his looks. While the doctor was lost in this realization, the snake slowly moved away from him and went closer towards the mirror. As the snake observed itself in its reflection, it was filled with admiration for its own beauty. Seeing this, the doctor silently escaped from his room and ran until he reached a friend's house. The next morning, he returned to his room and found that all his belongings except the dirty vest hanging on his room's hanger had been robbed. When the doctor finished his story, the listeners were curious about the snake and asked many questions about it. The doctor ended his story saying he never saw the snake again and thought it was probably drawn to its own beauty. So, students, that was the summary of the chapter, The Snake and the Mirror. Let us now see the theme and message of the chapter. Theme of the story. The story explores themes of self admiration, fear, and humor in unexpected situations, highlighting how self love can coexist with sudden life changes and how laughter can lighten fearful moments. Message of the story. The story teaches us to stay calm in difficult situations and find humor in life's challenges. It also reminds us not to be overly proud of our looks or dreams, as life is unpredictable and full of surprises. We hope that you have understood the topic. You can now study chapter notes, watch video lectures, and solve MCQ tests of this chapter on EduRev to ensure you score well in your school exams. And that's not all. You also get amazing courses for maths, science, English, Hindi, and much more for class 9. Thank you.